Hello everyone, welcome back to Hare over here. I'm Hare, and as the name of this video would suggest, I am actually remaking my old Kami of the Crescent Moon. I realized during that video, despite it being one of my most popular videos, um, eh, I've made some updates to the deck since posting that. And I've learned the deck over the time. I've made corrections to it, and there are definitely things that I can definitely do to make it better. Am I going to make it better immediately? No, most likely not. But if you haven't seen that deck, the first time I did it, uh, first off, the TappedOut Decklist is down below. As a general note, this depending on the scaling you're using, I would classify this deck as maybe a high 2, high bracket 2 maybe a 3, solely based on the fact that I I do have uh, an infinite built into this deck that, when combined with sorting cards, will just win me the game. Definitely one for certain decks, and I am playing a number of game changers. So it's like, oh, it's a bracket 3 by the fact that I'm playing a few game changers and playing an infinite? Yes, but it's probably not, it's not to a high level. But the general idea of this deck, granted, the uh, the commander is misleading in part, in that I built this deck to be one part group hug and one part meal. Now, I did have a comment in one of my last videos of one, like, oh yeah, I have playing have uh force of force mutations. I was considering putting that into this deck, but as I was like looking at my cards, it's like how I built this deck. I'm not sure if I can exactly swing it in this deck. Um, in that it helps with the group hug, it punishes, in part punishes those people that try to do it, but a lot of what this deck does is I do a fair amount of group huggy things, and then I just eventually, like, through through a number of group hugs, extra everyone draw a card, group hug combined with a boatload of cantrips, which is something you shouldn't be doing in Commander normally. Um, I will eventually draw into an infinite, or drawing into a situation that I can, like, slowly grind out the match. Um, but let's and combined with a more, like, you draw like, okay, everyone's drawing extra cards, but you mill a few cards, you mill a few cards. uh Focused milling, it makes the deck overall a little bit more things. There is one card that I need to eventually put into the deck, I just haven't yet, which is the Folio Fancies. I keep forgetting about it. I cannot find it locally at the moment, but that is eventually going into this deck. If you want to see the updated list, check down below. But let's actually get into the deck list. So, my what makes this uh, a lot of what makes this deck tick is the a lot of the group hugginess, and some of the, like, some cards just make, oh my god, opponent's scared. It's like, I'm telling you explicitly what I'm doing with these cards, some of these cards, and they are still scared of it. Let me directly show what I mean. So Commander is Kami of the Crescent Moon. Everyone gets an additional draw during the doorstep. Howling Mind and a Dictative Prefix does the same exact thing. Temple Bell and Otherworldly Atlas. Temple Bell, tap, everyone draw a card. Otherworldly Atlas, tap, put a charge count on it, or tap, everyone draws a card equal to the number of charge counters on it. Yeah, that is the Otherworldly Atlas is basically Temple Bell, but you can potentially increase the amount of cards that everyone's drawing. Perspective, a blue X, blue and an X. Everyone draws X cards. This is almost a blue Sun Zenith, but affects everyone. It's a group huggy card. I would normally put this in with my mana rocks, but Hammer of Awakening, everyone's stuff costs a generic less. So it's in this pile. And a card that apparently everyone is. I've met definitely over the past few weeks, everyone is scared of it for some reason, and I've been telling them, it's like, if you're scared of this Planeswalker's ultimate, then your threat assessment is extremely poor. Jace Beleren, Baby Jace. +2, everyone draws a card. That is the main thing I'm using this card for. -1, target player draws a card. I might consider the -1 on occasion, but calmly, I am wanting everyone to draw a card. And it's -10, it's ultimate. Target player mills the top 20 cards of their library. I have directly told this to so many people and saying, if I am activating that -20, it is a one-on-one scenario, and I'm just trying to get you out of the last few cards in your library. Do not be scared of it, and yet people attack Jace Beleren. It's like, you shouldn't be scared. It's helping you more than hindering you. The second part, then obviously the next part of this deck is the meal engine. First, the newest part of the deck, the water crystal. Just picked this up today. I need to do some actual testing, though it's going to help with the deck regardless. This in part go like the Helm Awakening, I somewhat put it into my mana rocks. Anything that reduces spells, I consider them half of a mana rock, because they themselves aren't generating mana. They don't get rid of mana pips, but they get rid of can reduce colorless things. For example, my Dictate of Crucifix, instead of casting blue in a generic with Helm out or with the Water Crystal out, oh, it's suddenly a blue. That may not sound like a whole lot, but when you're trying to cast multiple spells, that leaves up quite a bit of extra mana. But it's also increased, and whenever I make somebody meal, increase the amount by 4, and then for 6 mana, force everyone to meal equal to my hand size. And there have been games that I've had, I either had a 4 grip of 7, or I've had a absolutely gigantic hand, so that 6 mana ability can be great. Grind Clock, tap, put a charge count on it, or tap, mirror somebody, put to the number of charge counters. I do have a slight proliferate engine in this deck, so that's absolutely great. Next, I have 2 cards that in part go together. I should have Painter Solvent in this deck, but I don't. But Grindstone and Sphinx's tutelage. Definitely with the Water Crystal, these cards, yeah, with Painter Solvent, Grindstone is an instant killer. Sphinx's Revelation less so, but with the Water Crystal, both of these become a potentially even deadlier win cons, in that instead of saying mill 2, they must match in color. Basically, it's mill 6 if at least 2 cards in those 6 share a color, do it again. So it's an almost instant death trap for monocolors, potential for 2 colors, for 3, 4, and 5, depending on the color fluctuations. I can potentially hit them hard. The Kingstone, this has been in this deck since the very beginning. There have been a number of times that I was like, oh god, this is stuck in my hand and I can't do anything, or I can't activate its ability. What it does is 6 mana, and then for 5 mana, tapping it, mail somebody equal to the graveyard size. With the amount, I can increase somebody's graveyard quite a bit, so this can almost be a player knockout. Then I have Maddening Cacophony. Either everyone, all my opponents mill 8 or mill half their deck rounded up. Traumatize. Somebody mill half their deck, round it down. I could maybe replace this card with something, but there's been a number of times that Traumatize plus Kingstone has just basically knocked somebody out. Tasha's Hideous Laughter. If you're playing Meal, you're almost wanting to play this. Guaranteed. Then I have things like Psychic Corrosion and Teferi's Tutelage. With the amount, I am drawing a boatload in this deck. So milling 2 for every card I draw is an absolute godsend. If the Water Crystal's out, that's everyone meal 6, or somebody meal 6. Absolutely great. Jace the Perfected Mind, as soon as this was released, it's like I was thinking I have to have this boy in my deck. I picked him up quite a bit afterwards, but I finally picked him up. You probably saw, it's that special oiled version. It's the -6, and like I said, I've had a number of proliferation themes in this deck, so it is completely possible to cast him, then start building up those counters, then do his -X, for somebody to meal. And granted, I haven't played this deck against somebody yet, but if people think Jace Balarian is scary with his ultimate, Jace Perfected Mind is even scarier. Tristanian Mindbreaker. Tap target opponent when he attacks, defending player meals half. Now, you might be thinking, Hare, you're playing a meal deck. Why aren't you playing Bruvek? Here's the thing. This deck is not meant to be a pure, dedicated meal. I am playing first, I am playing Kami of the Crescent Moon. Second, I'm playing a number of everyone draws a card things. If I wanted to build a dedicated meal deck, I would have put Bruvak as my main commander. This thing is, in the early games, play out some of these, play a number of the group hug cards, or play a bunch of my, play a number of my cantrips and go off of that. In which, let's cover up some of my actual cantrips, which is an odd piece in any commander deck. It's like, you shouldn't be doing this, you should, but I do it, and I've had fantastic results. At times, I've had fantastic results. Granted, I have 32 lands in this deck, and I have been absolutely punished. But at times, I haven't been punished with keeping a 1 land hand or 2 land hand, thanks to my cantrips. I've reduced the amount of cantrips I'm have in the deck due to adding new cards, but let's go through it. Thought Scour, it already makes you meal your opponent meal. Gataxian Probe, it's a female, look at somebody's hand. Ponder, absolutely great. Preordained, yep. Scry, then draw. Serum Visions, draw, then scry. Visions of Beyond. There's a good chance that I'm gonna get somebody to 20 cards in the graveyard. Then 1 mana Ancestral Recall. Opt, I should be also including Consider, but I've taken out cantrips. I'm not even sure if I should be putting Consider in the deck. Contingency Plan. Proliferate, draw a card. Yeah, it's 2 mana, but I have a number of cost reductions in the deck, so this could potentially just be a literal 1 mana cantrip. And the Proliferate, I've shown a number of Planeswalkers in the Stem Egg. I have other on the Atlas. I have Grind Clock. I have a number of things that just rely on having counters on them. So having the proliferation actually legitimately helps. Then I have Blue Sun Zenith, X, blue, 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 shuffle it back into the deck, and draw X cards, shuffle it back into the deck. It's a great recursion and keeps itself in the deck. Gush, return 2 islands, draw 2 cards. Return 2 islands instead of paying its cost, draw 2 cards. I also play a fairly large suite of counter magics in the deck. Some legitimately go with the actual general theme of the deck of milling, of didn't say please, Thought Scour, and Countermand. Didn't say please and Thought Scour both saying counter, being 3 mana, counter target spell, mill 3. Sorry. And then Countermand, 1 extra mana, mill an extra card. So there's that, but then I have. Sorry about the pause, I had to pause for a moment. Then an another trip for cards of Stifle, Squelch, and Disallow. Stifle, counter activated or triggered ability. Squelch, counter activated ability, draw a card. Disallow, counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. And all three, but it's the negating activated and triggered abilities I have found to be great uses at times. The rest of the suite of spells I could definitely replace at later times, but I enjoy them. Rewind, counter target spell, untap 4 lands. I tap out a lot. Remand, counter, back to the hand, draw a card. It's been a great delaying tactic. In Disinterest Wheel, counter target spell, you choose one. Counter target spell, choose new targets, or copy targets instead of sorcery. I can choose new targets. Mostly counter spells, but those 2 other modes can be useful. Fierce Guardianship. I should counterspell, maybe mana drain, but I have counterspell. It is a generally good card. It is the bear of counter magics. It is good at what it does. Could be better, but could be worse. It is a good and solid card. Arcane Denial. Counter magic for 2. Counter your thing, you get to draw 2 during the next upkeep. I get to draw 1. It's a group hug with, surrounded by counter magic. Most of the rest of the deck is mostly somewhat support cards and other random things. First, the Infinite that I have. Isochron Scepter and Dramatic Reforce. Obviously, I need two, uh, at least mana locks that can give at least 2 mana, but this has been a great help and has won me the game a number of times. And with Isochron Scepter, there have been one time that I did put a something that wasn't dramatic reversal under it, but when I put something else under, which was a Remand, it was a great help in doing shenanigans. Vistic Study, if you're not playing a game changer, and if you're not playing in blue, and I need it in the deck because it's just like Cyclonic Rift. It's one of those like Vistic. It says become more expensive or allow me to potentially draw into win conditions or answers. Sea Rift, blow everything back. Elixir of Immortality, recycle my graveyard back into my deck, and potentially gain some life, which has always been nice. Lux Cannon, tap it, put a charge count on it, tap it, remove all 3 charge counters, destroy it. The Isochron Scepter, dramatic reversal, blow up everything. I just need the removal, and with the amount that I do with proliferation and counters, it's been a godsend at times. Meekstone, power 3 or greater, do not untap. It against the more aggressive decks, it's absolutely great. Against Sergeant decks, it's absolutely horrible. Unwinding Clock and Verdorkinori. Unwinding, I'm playing a lot of artifacts, so untapping during everyone else's untap has been great. Verdorkinori, give everything flash. 2 great cards for what they do, though somewhat slow. Teferi, Ageless Insight, except for my force draw or my draw step, it doubles all of my draw spell. It doubles all of my draw effects. So this has been absolutely a godsend in a lot of cases. Teferi, Temporal, Temporal Pilgrim, whenever you draw, put a counter on it. I'm drawing a lot of cards. 0, draw a card, -2, create a 2/2 blue spirit token with vigilance, and whenever I draw I put a counter on a +1/+1 counter on it on something, and -12, the actual scary ultimate. I'm going to partially Sea Rift your field. And then Flux Channeler. Whenever I cast a non-creature spell in which, including my commander, I'm playing a total of 4 creatures, like this, my commander, and 2 other cards, the Starion Mindbreaker, and 1 more card that I'm about to get to, I'm playing 4 creatures in the entire deck, with 32 lands. This will trigger a boat ton, and I have a lot of a lot of counters that don't mind being added on to. 2 of the cards that I include in the deck: Jace, Weird of Mysteries, Laboratory Maniac. The big thing with both of these is that that it's the static on Jace and just the whole effect of Lab Man. It's similar to playing Thassa's Archon. Granted, if I'm winning because of these effects, most likely I can also mill my opponents out completely. But I include them as backup win conditions. Plus, Ace, Weird of Mysteries, Force effects, +1, it's a thought skill. Mill 2, draw a card. Great. Love it. And why do I not have Thassa's Oracle? Over the years, I've been finding I don't win because of Lamb Man. Or if I'm winning because of Lamb Man, I'm winning because I've milled my opponents out. And if I'm wanting to play a Thassa's Oracle, I might. It's one of those situations of I would rather play this at any time and potentially just get the scry than like okay, hold on to it until I can. Thus, as alcohol, I win because of scry. It's a fun act. Then I have a fair amount of mana rocks. I think it's a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm playing 12 and a half. Why do I say 12 and a half? Like I said, Helm of Awakening, it is the Helm of Awakening, the Water Crystal, and the Sapphire Medallion, I all consider a half of mana. They reduce the casting cost, they don't generate mana. So it's like, they do the same thing at the end of the day, but not always equal. So, that's why it's like, they're half rocks. But then it's like 11 other hard carries. I could improve the mana rock, my mana rocks, I fully realize, but it's what I'm playing. Commander Sphere. So, yeah, it's draw a card or tap for mana. Chromatic Lantern, actually somewhat useful sometimes with its allow all my lands tapped for any color. Astrocornucopia, XXX, put X counters on it. Tap it, put add X X blue mana into my mana pool. X any color into your mana pool, where X is the number of charge counters. Again, fun with counters and proliferating. Cultivator's Caravan. I know, it's a bad 3 mana rock that could turn into a creature, but I never do. Darksteel Ingot, indestructible. Could be playing a 2 CMC thing, but I'm not. Gilded Lotus, tap, add 3 of any color, aka tap to add 3 blue. Absolutely great. Midnight Clock, this is more of one of my utility spells than a mana rock, but it being a mana rock is great at times. But during each upkeep, so a total of 3 rotations of the at max 3 rotations of the table, it gets a time counter. Once I hit 12, I exile this, shuffle my graveyard and my hand back into my deck, draws a fresh new set. Absolutely great. And for blue and a red, for 2 generic and blue, put an extra count on it. Then Sky Diamond, Solving. Yeah, I don't think I have to explain that. Worn Power Stone, oldie but a goodies in my mind still. One Thought Vessel, no maximum hand size, and add a colorless. I don't have too many no maximum hand sizes, but it is what it is. Most of my land base, somewhat utilities. I could definitely be cutting most of it for something that's probably more useful, but I enjoy my first off 17 basics. Basic items. Yeah. Really basic there. One of my newer additions, Jadal, Aristocrat Capital. It's the Final Fantasy Adventureland target person near half their life. I bound it down and then play it as my land for turn. It sucks that these rare adventure lands come in tapped, but I get some benefits. But I have general criticism of the Final Fantasy set, and this is an odd include. That line is very odd. Mystic Sanctuary, get back any of my instants of sorceries, absolutely great. I've abused some things like Gush and one of my lands to reuse Mystic Sanctuary for a number of times. Inventor's Fail, my only tutor. I could be including more tutors in the deck, but half the fun is just draw my entire deck. Battleground, utility land, no max hand size. Mikokoro, tap for colorless, or for 2 who generic and tapping it. Everyone draw a card. Gaia Reach, same exact thing, but it's draw card, discard card. Khan's Bastion, tap for colorless or for 4 and tapping, proliferates back. Lotus Field, it is Lotus Field. Sack 2 lands, create 3 blue mana. It's a Lotus. It's been useful. Definitely with Rewind. These 2 cards might seem weird, and I will admit that, but I've had at times great success with them. Temple of the Forest God and Guiltless Commons. Again, 32 lands. It's like, you shouldn't be playing so few lands. But really enough, the amount of time that I have been punished versus the amount of times that I've either had just enough lands or been flooded on mana has been astonishingly huge. And having 2 cards that tap for extra mana is absolutely great. Plus with Guiltless Commons, I can potentially also use the Jadal, in that Guiltless Common basically says it's a bounce land. Return any when it enters, return a land, and I control it back to its own and so cast Jadal, play it as land. Play Guiltless Commons, return to Jadal back to my hand, cast the adventure, make somebody else have their deck. So yeah. Then Darksteel Citadel and Seed of the Synod, extra artifacts. Don't really abuse that fact a lot, but the Unwinding Clock has a nice interaction with them. And then Myriad Landscape, Tailmorphic, and Evolving Wilds. Especially the Evolving Wilds and Tailmorphic could just be islands, but I just included them as extra shuffle effects. But yeah, this has been my updated Kami of the Crescent Moon. Tell me your guys' thought down in the comment section down below. But yeah, I'll have the deck list down below. I'll see you around, folks.